Hello there. And we've also, of course, got British Ace, otherwise known as Joe.
Yes. I'm sure you know both of us, but a little intro for myself. As Paul said, I'm Joe, British Ace, who covers Train Sim World, Train Simulator, OMSI 2, and also works on the Royal World Railway here in the UK.
Very nice to have another real railway person involved in a bit of a collab. I work on a heritage railway in Melbourne. On my channel, I mostly do train content, both simulation and real, despite the name of the thing. I do actually have real train content there as well. And today we're doing a fun little challenge. Do you want to talk about what we're doing, Joe?
We are doing well, it's two parts. So the first bit we're doing now is we're going to be racing in a class 700 from London Victoria down to East Croydon, which is slightly weird in itself because it's a 700 on the sort of the Victoria spur of the Brighton main line, but it's fun, it's unique. So yeah, we're going to be racing that down from Vic to East Croydon, and then once we get to East Croydon we've got to jump out really quickly, run over to platform number 3, and then from platform 3 we then have a points challenge, which is a 1 alpha service, which is a Victoria to Brighton service, and then we then drive that down to Brighton, and whoever gets to Brighton with the most amount of points wins.
This is very true, and
Yes.
People have probably noticed that we've each just spawned a 700 using the new free roam feature introduced in Train Sim World 4.
Yeah, certainly have.
Both desperately trying to find East Croydon on the map now.
Yeah, all the tracks everywhere on the London Commuter, or Brighton Mainline DLC.
Yeah.
I suppose, as we mentioned, obviously it's good to mention free roam. So yeah, free roam is a new thing within Train Sim World 4, which allows you to basically spawn a train on any route, any train on any route you could think possible. Very much easier than how it used to be, where it just scenario planner and off the rail. It's so easy now. You load in, I know on consoles left on the D-pad. What's it on PCs, Paul?
It's the tab key.
Tab key. And then spawn new train, as I'm sure you saw us doing. Spawn new train. All of the trains you own in your collection are on the massive list, which is nice and easy. There's a search bar as well. Click your train, click what formation you want. So, 4 coaches, 8 coaches, 12 coaches, empty, with passengers. And then you can plonk it down wherever you want. Even if it's an electric train on a diesel route, I believe that still does work. It's madness, but it's good fun.
It is indeed madness. And people might have noticed that we spawned the train as soon as the other one left the platform. And the reason for that's twofold. The first one is to give us a good head start in the race. But the second one is that London Victoria is so busy, if you don't spawn it into an empty platform straight away, you might not be able to spawn it at all because it won't let you use a platform that's got a train coming into it, and they nearly all do. So you have to take your moment. That's why we jumped in so quickly.
Yeah. So otherwise then the signal block's taken, and then it gets angry with you, and it doesn't allow it. So you've got to be sharp.
You do indeed. And right now the poor little dispatcher in the game's going, "Ah, what have they done?" But it actually works quite well, so it accommodates it nearly all the time. The game does pop up a little warning that says sometimes really weird things will happen, and they do.
Yeah, they do. Certainly do. So me and Paul are just going over Grosvenor Bridge at the moment, and we've got Battersea Power Station on the left of us. And there is a slight difference in how our games look, and that's because Paul, who's on the left-hand side, is on the PC, so that's the Steam PC version, and I'm playing on PlayStation 5. So a nice little difference of how it's going to look. And yeah, just down to the left of us is the Battersea Dogs and Cats Home.
A very good place indeed, looking after all of the pets that need a little bit of help.
Yeah, exactly. We've got Battersea Park Station I'm going through. I think Paul's... Yeah, you're just about to go through. We're close.
Yeah, you started off a little bit quicker than me. I believe the power station's a shopping centre now.
Yeah, recently got, well, I think a year or so ago. Yeah, and it's now been converted into a shopping centre. I think there's also a flat or whatever at the very top of it. So they've made good use of, I suppose, what's left from the behemoth.
I wonder if you can live in a chimney. That'd be fun.
That would be quite fun.
Yeah. Other things that are a little bit different is I'm running the minimal HUD.
Yeah.
And Joe's running the full HUD. So there's just slight differences in what you're seeing on the screen, and all this is configurable for you through the settings menus in TSW. You also notice Joe went full hog on the safety systems. I've only got AWS and TPWS turned on. And Joe's gone for vigilance as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I just prefer using this HUD because at least when we've got the HUD on, most of the time I have it off. I just like having that open, game getaway, sort of that realistic sort of experience, I suppose you could say.
And
realistic as much as possible.
Indeed. And speaking of AWS, you probably noticed something just happened to me on the left-hand side there.
Oh yes,
I'm now waiting for a minute.
Oh.
I thought about re-recording when this happened, and I thought, nah, it's realistic. It happens to people.
Yeah.
So here I am, waiting. Joe, meanwhile, progressing.
Slowly come up to the red light at just outside of Clapham Junction.
Yeah. The other reason why I didn't start again is I actually thought it wouldn't make that much difference because I knew about this red light, and I knew you'd have to wait for it anyway. There we go. I've reset. Starting to get going again now.
And then the left side of me currently, I think it's the longest billboard in, is it billboard? That's the English way, isn't it? I'm saying it.
There's billboard as well. Yeah.
Oh, it's over there as well. It's the longest one in Europe, I think, in terms of sort of the width of it.
I can't remember. Our heritage is more or less English, plus kangaroos and snakes and spiders.
Right, I'm now sat at the red light.
Ooh, setting the DRA.
Yes.
Right, advanced.
You get the nice lady talking to you on this one as well, on the 700. You need to put the DRA off and bits and bobs on.
Indeed. And you have to react quite quickly to AWS on the 700. I think you only get something like 2 seconds. And
yeah.
I was not quick enough.
So Paul, you just crossed over the West London line as you come up to the big billboard, which is the line that runs between Clapham Junction and, well, it connects the West Coast Main Line. West Coast Main Line, Great Western Main Line, it connects them all together. So that's what you've just gone over.
It's very cool that you know all the routes and you know how all the different parts of the game and the different parts in reality join together.
Yeah, it's
I just look at it and go, train.
Yeah, it is weird seeing a sort of a line you know so well, an area you know so well, and train operating company you know so well. It's weird seeing it in the game, but it's also nice to sort of see how well it's been recreated in the game. That's another nice thing about it.
Indeed. I'm actually hoping to get to the UK in June this year, if all things work out. Not quite sure how I'm going to afford it, but if all things work out, then I'll go and ride some of these, because you have to.
Yes.
And I could always bring along a game console or a Steam Deck or a laptop or something and drive the train on the train just for a bit of meta action. But that might get you arrested as a terrorist.
I don't know. I feel like probably slightly okay laws, though. It would be allowed, yeah. I think you'd be alright.
Doesn't help that I look like this.
So you're actually now ahead of me, Paul. Yeah, you're now ahead as you go through Clapham.
I did follow the SAM rules of train driving.
There we go through. Well, yeah, you're where the South West Main Line branches off as it heads down towards the stations like Woking, Basingstoke, all those sort of places, Southampton, Weymouth. That's gone off to the right of you, and I'm still slowly making my way through Clapham Junction.
You're driving probably the way a real train driver would, whereas I'm driving knowing that the train in front of me is also not stopping. So I'm banking on the fact that it's not stopping and that I won't run into a red. I've also got the signal aspects turned on in the track monitor in the top right, and I notice that you don't. So you're living by what you see in front of you through the windscreen.
Yeah, another little difference in the way we play.
Yeah. What's really interesting is, even though I'm in the beta program and are supposed to know all these fancy things, I didn't actually know you could do that.
I think it's signal aspects or map. I don't know what is that little tiny distance. I call it the track map. I don't know what the actual name is for it.
The name they use is track monitor, but it doesn't really matter. Track map's good enough.
Yeah.
And yeah, I actually went and found it in the settings, and I've started playing without the signal aspects turned on because it's better.
Yeah.
And most routes you get quite a good advanced view of the signals. Because they're designed in real life so that drivers can get a good advanced view, and most of the time they're actually placed where they really are in life. So
most signals are easy to see. Most,
yes. There's a few on routes like Clinchfield where you come around a corner and go, red light.
Go on.
We've probably all spattered on that one.
And you're just going through, but you're actually quite a way. You're a whole station. You're at Balham now. And up to the left of you, you've got the line off to Streatham Hill. Yeah, Streatham Hill, then it goes Tulse Hill and off that way. That's the line you're just about to go past. And I'm a little bit behind.
I don't think you're far behind me, though. And the good thing about this is in two parts, so it doesn't really matter what the outcome of part one is. Because we'll see what the outcome of part two is.
Yes. Yeah, I'm just going through Balham now. There we are. Whizzing through. The thing is, the 700s are actually, I'm pretty certain they are signed to run into Victoria Central, which there's Central Victoria, which is the southern side of Victoria. And then you've got Victoria Eastern, which is the southeastern side. Now the 700s actually are signed to run into Central Victoria, but I don't think any of their drivers sign it. So they can, but just none of the drivers can.
They just don't want to do it.
No.
I just noticed I got a reward for driving 7 miles. That's the joys of rebuilding your PC from time to time to clean things out.
So you're just, you're coming up to the Sutton and Mole Valley lines going over the top, or the Portsmouth lines, as they actually, the old name, the Portsmouth lines. They head down, you've just gone under them, they head down towards Sutton, Epsom, and eventually down to Leatherhead, and then you can go Guildford, you can go towards Horsham. You've just gone under that.
Leatherhead sounds like the name of a serial killer.
Leatherhead.
But some of those names like Sutton, Horsham, we've got suburbs with the same names. So.
I suppose that's sort of one of the cool things about Australia. You sort of share the same history and same names and same most things.
Yeah, homesick English people naming things. In fact, the place we're eventually driving to in the second part of this, which is Brighton, is a suburb that's actually not very far from where I live.
Oh.
And I live in a suburb that'll have another familiar name because it's called Frankston.
Do a swap over one time. I'll go to Brighton in Melbourne, and you'll go to Brighton in Sussex.
Yeah. We can do that.
I'm still. Yeah, you are considerably ahead. Yeah, you're way ahead. I'm just going through Norbury. You're Thornton Heath almost.
When the 700. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know where you've got this time from.
It's pushing the envelope a little. Normally, on a double yellow, you might go this fast, but on a yellow, you wouldn't. Because on a yellow signal, generally speaking, on a caution, you have to travel at a speed that you can stop within the length of your own train. And let's just say I'm not.
Ooh, nice shed there. You're going past that.
Indeed. Yeah, one of the reasons I chose this particular time is there's a good variety of things that you see as you play.
Yeah.
It's quite cool seeing how similar the graphics are between the gaming PC and the PlayStation.
Yeah, it's surprising actually, because I'm assuming you're probably on fully ultra and max everything.
I am.
Yeah. So it's quite cool to see
No.
sort of how it lines up.
Yeah, no mods though, I run vanilla.
Yeah.
When I'm doing stuff on my time, sometimes I play with mods, but when I'm recording and showing it off, I always prefer to show vanilla because that's what everybody else will see.
Yeah, fair enough. So you're going through Selhurst, however you want to pronounce it. You've got the big Selhurst depot there, which is one of the main depots, I suppose, within South London. You've got the Southern diesels, which get maintained there as well.
Yeah, an interesting aspect of this railway line here too, where you get separation in height between the tracks that are going to the same place.
There's a whole mix of tracks. You just went over the line, another part of the Sutton Mole Valley line, which goes to Sutton, and then the other, the bit joining us is the other spur of the Brighton main line, which goes up to London Bridge. So that's just joined up with us. A very busy place, a bottleneck in real life.
And you're catching up as well, because I've slowed down a little bit now because I'm coming into the station. Trying to get my speed down to not exceed this 45 when I hit it.
And for this challenge, I think it was who basically gets there first. And by the looks of the time, it does look like it probably will be Paul.
Yeah.
I think on
Time's an interesting thing in the game, actually, because I don't know if you know, but the clock in the game is not actually real. It's not 1 second for 1 second.
Oh.
So they run so many ticks per second in the game, and each tick they do something in the game, like draw something or look at something or check a control or whatever, and then update the time as well, but it doesn't work out as quite on real time.
Well, it's interesting to know. I'm absolutely flying into East Croydon. So you arrived there
indeed.
at basically bang on 38 past. I've got 5 seconds, which it looks like it's that's not like So there you go. Paul wins round 1 of the BML double up challenge thing.
And now I jump out of the train and close the door, carefully turned it all off, and then ran up here and ran into an invisible wall.
I
don't know why there's an invisible wall there. And for some bizarre reason, I've now come back to the train. I don't know why I came back to the train, but I clearly have.
Why not? Nice little inspection.
Oh, I know what it is, because see how it says I've got 29 yards to go? I'm thinking, I should move that. And then I was looking at the time going, ooh, this is getting pretty close.
Yeah. I did the same thing there, running up to the... Because realistically, that's the main station concourse. I'm a little bit surprised why it didn't feature in this route. But yeah, that's the main station concourse up there. That is like the main way of changing platforms.
Then I've given up on the idea of moving it. I'm just getting out now because I'm looking at the time going, this is getting too close. Still take time to close the window though. And back up here again, not having learnt about the invisible wall.
Oh no.
Go, oh, yeah, invisible wall.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're on the other platform laughing at me.
Was it 41 past, I think, the Brighton train?
It does indeed.
Yeah, so this is...
and I think
go on.
in the game it arrives just before yours for me, so you'll see my video actually pause so that we get lined up again in time.
Yes, this is going to be round number 2 of the BML challenge. And this bit is... Oh, hello, there's like a little cat on your... Okay, it's gone now. This is about how many points you can get. So whoever gets the most amount of points by Brighton wins. Oh, you got an NHS one, lovely.
Yeah. And the idea of points is the more closely you adhere to the speed limits. I can see through the lady's head. It's always a bit disturbing. The more closely you adhere to speed limits, the closer you are to the stopping points, and the closer you are to the timetable, you get more points. Now, I have to say I normally don't play points, so I'm not actually that good at points.
It seems to be sort of half and half. Some people really love points. Like, they want to get a platinum medal on every single one they drive. They just work through the timetable getting gold, 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 gold. I'm one of those people. It's just like, I'll just turn them off. I'll just draw. All I want to do is get in the train, realistically, drive it from A to B. That's all I want to do on this game.
And that's the cool thing about the game, is there aren't any right or wrong ways to do it. You do it how you want to do it.
Exactly. I suppose it's
both checking setup on the train and going, oh look, it's done it all for us. Oh, you're away first.
Oh yeah, I am. I've got the advantage on this one as I make my way out, and we are actually in sync now as well, as you said, because you paused the thing. That's good.
Yeah, I think you'll definitely have the advantage on this stretch, because I imagine you've driven this rather a lot.
A lot. Although it's a weird thing to say, but it's actually harder doing it with the HUD on is actually harder, because I'm so used to doing it without the HUD. So it's sort of almost like a distraction seeing the HUD.
Yeah, it can be. And interestingly, in that camera view I had there, this is one of the busiest routes in the game, because we could actually see 4 trains at the same time there, which is kind of unusual in the game. The only other route that does it, to my mind, is New York Trenton, and it's a different aspect of it. It's probably not as many trains as here, except in New York Penn itself.
Yeah. So we're now coming
up. Of course, that one hasn't got any people, but this one still does. Yes, people.
Yeah. So we're now coming up to South Croydon. So I've got a slight advantage here, and just off to the left of South Croydon, you've got the Oxted lines. Which go down to, Hurst Green, and then split off. So you've got the line to East Grinstead, and then the line to Uckfield, which is diesel. So that's what we're just going past now. Paul's looking out his window there at the junction, and it's now full line
the other
speed.
train.
Yeah. Up to 90.
Being a rail fan, of course, you have to look at the other trains.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you know what Australians call rail fans?
Foamers?
Gunzels.
That is a interesting name.
Yeah, so when you're working on a real train and you see a whole lot of people with cameras out the side of the track, you naturally enough stick your head out and yell out, Gunzel!
Gunzels.
And that completely ruins their video, and they just quietly hate you.
Where am I? Pearly Oaks I'm about to go through. My Gatwick will be in sync again.
You're a little bit ahead of me, I think.
So
you're definitely ahead of me on points. Look at the points difference.
Let's have a look.
That's huge.
Yeah, that's fairly. Although I'm a few seconds in front. But Paul, we get to that time where I have to ask, if you could see a route in TSW, what would you want to see?
I think I need an Australian route. And I know Matt's looking for an excuse to do a trip to Australia to gather reference. So maybe it'll happen one day.
Fair enough. Anything Australian or anything sort of specific? Metro, heritage, high speed?
I think to be honest, I'd settle for almost anything just to get an Australian route.
Yeah.
But I'd really like to see my local one, because it's got electric multiple unit, it's got diesel multiple unit, it's got diesel hauled freight. So it's got a good mix, and it's also fairly busy. Our train services aren't quite as good as the UK. We generally have during peak times, we'll have a train about every 10-15 minutes, but the rest of the day it's a train every hour, if you're lucky.
I mean, that's not all different. I mean, quite a lot of lines here are every hour. I mean, in the southeast, it's a bit Well, where we are driving currently would be every sort of 15 minutes, basically all day. But they're not too dissimilar.
I think the railway that I've been most impressed with in the world, there's two. One, right at the top of it, is the Japanese Tokyo system, because you don't worry about running for a train because there's another one 2 minutes behind it. You just don't care. And the other one is the New York subway system, because they tend to run smaller trains and a lot more of them. So certainly more populous running than our own network.
I was waiting until you come to London.
This is the grand plan. I'm hoping to do it in June. There's an event on in Manchester that I want to go to.
Ooh.
And of course, being a railway nut, I need to go and explore. And there's no shortage.
Fair enough.
So I work on the Puffingbilly Railway, which is a heritage railway in Melbourne. And there's a sister railway of ours, the Tallian. And I probably butchered the pronunciation of that because it's Welsh and Welsh pronunciation.
The Tallian.
Interesting. So I have to go and visit them, of course.
What about the Festiniog on Welsh Highland? That's narrow gauge, similar.
I definitely have to visit them as well. There's a whole list of places that I'd like to do and like to go and see. And I've had previews of some UK routes through this game, but there's also a YouTuber I follow, G Love Trains, that she goes everywhere, literally.
Everywhere, fair enough. Right, so let's see, you are there, so we're fairly similar now. I'm just about to enter the Crawley tunnel, and you're not too far behind.
Yeah, I'm only one bridge behind you now, I think.
Yeah, so we're catching up.
Yeah, the acceleration on this one's not quite the same as the 7.
No, I'm pretty certain the 377 actually does have better acceleration. I've heard it somewhere, and I think, yeah, I'm pretty certain it does actually have better acceleration. You wouldn't think so, but I think it does.
That's good to know.
But obviously, once the 700 gets on the juice wire, it gets a bit different then.
When it gets proper electricity.
Oh, that was a nice flyby shot in the tunnel.
I always have a look in the tunnels to see if the lights work, and I've remembered to turn them on or not.
So I'm just about to go over the M25, the road between motorway and London. There we go, over that. To the right of us would be Merstham.
I am always impressed at your level of route knowledge.
I've just been on this route so many times, so it's, yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's like the railway I work on. People can show me a picture of a tree or a rock and I tell them where it is. Only once have I had someone show me a picture in all the years that I've offered to do it, and I did not know where it was.
Oh.
And they were a little bit sneaky.
What I say? Was it slightly further away from the railway?
Yeah, they were actually a little bit away from the railway line. That's the other side of a track. And as a fireman, you need to learn the route that well, because you need to know when the driver's going to need steam and when they're not, so you're not blowing off all the time.
Yeah.
One of our engines, you have to learn where you are on the route from above, because the visibility out the sides is so poor, you actually look up.
Oh, wow.
And you need to recognise the trees.
Have you got any sort of English trains over there then, which have been sort of imported or exported?
There's actually quite a lot from the steam era of English trains, and we used to have English electric trains. We had what we called Harris trains, but in the craze of removing asbestos from the world, those trains were basically made of asbestos, so they all got buried.
So.
But in the steam era, a lot of our trains were made in England and imported over here. We've got ones sitting in our museum, which is waiting its turn for its major overhaul, and that's an English Garrett. We've got a South African Garrett, which was originally actually made in Manchester, so that's an English one. That one's operational.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, the most recent steam trains that were brought into the Australian network, the R-Class, they're an American Hudson made in England.
Oh.
Yeah, Australians, we like being weird. But now, like most places, most of our trains come from European vendors.
Yeah. Fair enough. We're now out on the straight now. We're out on the sort of the more rural feeling stretch of the line, even though it's actually not really that rural, but the stretch between sort of Red Hill and Gatwick. So coming up on the left of my screen would be East Surrey Hospital. I think we're just about to come up to that on the left, or might have actually already gone past it. And then Salford's fairly soon. Salford's, Crawley, and then Gatwick.
Very cool. Maybe we'll see some planes.
Maybe we will.
And I think the planes in game are some very weird cross between a 737 and an Airbus.
Yeah, it's slightly peculiar. There's a nice
It's a very generic plane.
Yeah. So I'm just going past Salford's currently. Yeah, you're not too far behind. What, 500 metres behind or so?
Interesting to hear you use metric.
Oh.
Now I'm looking at the timetable going, how long is this thing anyway that I committed to?
Yeah, it does take a while to get between East Croydon and Gatwick. A little while. Thanks, Paul. Would you want to see this train upgraded again?
Oh, definitely.
With a bit more my track functionality and announcements, things like that. I'm sure we'd all like that.
And the suspension, that would be good.
Yeah.
Cab sway isn't quite what suspension would do.
Yeah, we'd like to see another. Well, I suppose East Coast Way, this route upgraded, and maybe even a whole new Electrostar route. Southern Electrostar route would be nice.
Well, there certainly have been a few that have been upgraded recently, so that's showing
that's
signs that we may get some more.
Yeah. And one I'm looking forward to is West Somerset, which maybe when this is going out, maybe that's already out. West Somerset upgraded. Look forward to that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the release schedule is for that, but it should be quite interesting to get an upgrade for West Somerset with new content and being able to run additional things and just making its scenery up to date with the way scenery is done now, because it's changed a lot in the short time the game's been alive.
So now coming up to Gatwick Airport.
You're going to stop first for sure.
Yeah. This bridge coming up is the border with Sussex. So as soon as we get under this bridge, which I'm just about to go under, I am now in Sussex. Whee.
Get your passports ready. Got a nice controlled and leisurely arrival into Gatwick.
Lovely. So what airport do you think you would fly into, Paul? Gatwick? Is that do they do Gatwick to Australia? No, I don't think they do they?
Not direct. Our only direct flights go to Heathrow. But there are other ways to get there, of course. I've been looking at airfares. They're a little ridiculous at the moment. They are very expensive. Been looking at ones that are on sale, and if you travel on their combination of days, you're okay. But then you move it by one day and the airfare doubled.
Wow.
There was one flight I was looking at, it was actually cheaper to fly business class than economy.
This is Gatwick Airport, which has had massive changes since this route released. You've now got a whole new concourse, which whenever I go to Gatwick it's really quiet. It was sort of supposed to soak up the current customers and passengers, but it's always quiet when I go into the new concourse. It's just like dead silent every time.
It could be part of the design, I suppose.
Yeah, maybe.
Trying to control the noise of the airport and the noise of the people coming to and fro so they don't annoy the locals. This is where I figure out I've got ages, so I may as well go for a walk.
Yeah, have a look around the station. I think I'd basically just go AFK here and look at the train.
Yep.
I'm going for a little adventure.
Well, because I rebuilt my PC recently, I can go and collect all the collectibles again.
Beat the heat, lovely. I can hear a 166. Is well, probably on both of our ones. I can hear a diesel somewhere over there.
There's always one hiding someplace.
May I have your attention,
Just a little fact, actually.
Closed circuit television
Even though it's a
and
Great
audio
Western
is in
Railway
use at this
service,
station for your personal safety and
guess
security.
what TOC actually drives or did drive that service?
It's a good question.
Have a guess. Who do you reckon? It's a Great Western Railway service, but it was actually crewed by, well, it's the driver. Drivers were Southern.
Yeah, well, I suppose it would make sense, wouldn't it? Because it's their region.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't anymore because, yeah, there was sort of issues and, well, yeah, it doesn't anymore. But yeah, the drivers used to be, don't know about the guards, but the drivers, yeah, they used to be Southern drivers who from the Red Hill depot who would drive, yeah, from Red Hill, well, here and then all the way to Reading, which is quite bonkers but cool.
It's a bit of a long run.
Yeah, along the North Downs line.
Yeah, we have similar things where the drivers have regions because you get to know your routes and you generally work in your region. You don't generally go and work somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because sending drivers off to work somewhere else is asking for spads.
It's a long old wait here at Gatwick. Well, we've got 20 seconds. I think I actually closed my doors early. The whistle would have been blown at 20. Doors closing by 30. And then by 40, wheels moving. Generally.
Very organised.
Although Thameslink,
good
it's
is-
always 20 seconds. Well, 40 seconds and they close the doors.
How good is the UK with on-time running?
Oh. It depends. It depends. I mean, I'd say when it's a good day, when there's nothing wrong, pretty well. But there's not usually a day where something doesn't go wrong.
It sounds familiar. Yeah, on our railway, because we're a heritage railway, we see the timetable as a list of stations and places to cross other trains. And that's about it. We're not particularly concerned about being all that adherent to it, so if we're 5 or 6 minutes, it's like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. The only time people start to worry is if you're getting up to half an hour late, because that has ramifications across the whole railway.
Yeah. So we are... Yeah, the next station along is Three Bridges, which is actually home to the Three Bridges Thameslink depot, which is a huge complex. I can't remember how many trains it holds in total, but I know you can get, I think, 3 12-coach 700s in a row, and that's sort of how long. And there's a few sidings that long. So what's that? 36 coaches long. So about 720 metres or so.
And I just tried to pull off one of my camera angles where I sit on the ground between two trains, and it hit me.
So on the right of us, what we've got, there's lots of things on the right of us. But on the right of us, we have Crawley New Yard coming up. But then sort of outside of the railway, you've got the Metrobus depot, Metrobus Manor Royal depot. You've got Manor Royal, which is a huge sort of retail retail sort of park, of a business centre, massive business centre. One of the biggest in the county actually, and also Crawley, which is a lovely town, shall we say.
So he's saying it's lovely, or it is lovely? That's where Joe's thinking, I don't want to be hated by people from Crawley. It's really good.
Yeah, so it's really nice.
Yeah.
So I'm going through
one of the
three
things
bridges.
We've talked about yards before. One of the things I like in the more recent routes is the yards are becoming accessible and you can actually use them free roam. So there may not be any services or scenarios that go in there, but you can plonk things down and drive around to your heart's content.
Yeah. So off we go there. So Paul's just past the Three Bridges ASC, the Area Signalling Centre. And also off to the right there you have the Arun Valley line, which takes you down a beautiful line towards Horsham, and then about Pulborough, Amberley, Arundel. Amberley's actually a place you'd probably like to go, Paul, I reckon, because there is a working museum there of an industrial working museum, little trains and old buses and just
That
heritage
does sound
stuff.
like my kind of thing.
Yeah, Amberley open air working museums within an old quarry. They got a little narrow gauge railway around the outside and lovely setting.
Actually, I've seen a video from that.
Oh, it wasn't James Bond before, so
No, it was. It's a girl. I think she's a teenager. She's maybe, I don't know, 13 or 14 or something, and she's got a YouTube channel. She did a video of that quarry, and it popped up in my feed.
yeah.
She was a little too excited about the train.
Exploring the A23 there, or the M23.
Trying not to get run over while I get my Ralphan shot.
And then coming up to Balcombe Tunnel Junction and then into Balcombe Tunnel as we leave Crawley behind.
Isn't a question for you? Are most kinds of things accessible from trains, or would you need to rent a car?
What, like attractions or?
Yeah.
Depends really what attractions. I mean, heritage railways, a fair amount of them now in the UK are actually connected by a mainline railway. So, say you mentioned the Tallinn Railway, I think that's connected or near enough connected. The Welsh Highland, that's connected. Festiniog, that's connected at Blaenau Festiniog. It really depends what. Most are connected fairly well, especially if they're popular ones. They have a bus route or a train. They're fairly connected.
That sounds good then.
It's hard to find. Well, it's not hard to find, but it's quite easy to get around in the UK public transport wise.
Yeah, that's good, because the other thing I'm looking at, of course, is accommodation, and if you're anywhere near London, it's ridiculous.
Brighton. Well, that's probably expensive as well.
I think that could be in the mix. Blackpool looks kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Have to go to Chatham, of course, and go and annoy everybody. Go, hi, I'm the guy that's been annoying you in Discord for years. I'm here to do it in person. Now about this game.
As we absolutely whiz down the Brighton Road, we've just gone through Balcombe, and soon to be upcoming is Ouse Valley Viaduct, which is another quite cool place you can go in real life actually, although you would have to drive, and you can walk underneath it and take cool photos, and one of the sort of cool walks you can do.
Sounds good. The canals interest me too. I may splurge, depending if I get there and depending on how money looks, I might splurge out on actually renting a narrowboat for a day.
Yeah, probably.
You can rent them for a day and a night, and from what I've seen, it's not that much more expensive than accommodation for a night. So
Yeah.
could be a good option.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I don't think I'd want to travel a long way by canal because they're about as fast as the railway I work on. But Doing it for the novelty for a day? That sounds like fun.
Yeah, I'm going over the Ouse Valley Viaduct.
That's one thing the UK is very different to our rail is you have massive viaducts. In the times that the UK railways were built, there seems to be this need to flatten the way.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hills are very unusual.
As in Australia, it's very... if there's a massive valley, we'll just go down the valley and back up the other side.
Yeah, basically. And consequently, we have some monumental banks that, in steam days, firemen in particular wouldn't have enjoyed.
Oh.
In today's diesel trains, it doesn't make that much difference to you.
Yeah. What are your diesel trains like over there? What, I don't know. I'm thinking, when I think diesel, I think Class 66. How do they compare?
We have a huge range of stuff that's in service, ranging... The oldest things look a lot like American F7s.
Yeah.
We have a lot of... They're mostly EMD heritage type of locomotives that are still in service. And we've got lots of little operators, so the big state-based operators abandoned most of these things a long time ago and sold them off. And there's these tiny operators that take up the market, and they do it with basically heritage rolling stock.
Oh.
And even some of our heritage train centres like Seymour, where they've collected a bunch of heritage trains, they actually use them on real commercial work to fund their heritage operations. So we've got all sorts of stuff. You never quite know what's going to turn up, from the absolute most modern things, 5,000 or 6,000 horsepower locomotive, through to something that's only 1,500 horsepower, and you find 4 of them pulling a train.
Fantastic. Very nice. We actually had something similar over here in the UK. Well, actually, this was actually brought to me from the community, but I think it was a Class 52, which obviously were retired years ago. One got brought back to do clay runs. I think it was up in Scotland or somewhere like that. So yeah, a retired locomotive which then got brought back to actually, carry freight. And there was also another instance of, I can't remember, it might have been number 52. Something got brought back, an old loco for freight runs. I can't remember which one.
It's quite cool when that happens.
Yeah, that was a Delta.
You certainly notice the difference when they change over the steel trains that come. It's probably about 5 kilometres from my house, but you used to be able to hear them. They'd come through at 2 o'clock in the morning and hear this whoop, 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 as these massive locomotives. Massive heritage ones came through, because they're, 50-year-old locomotives. There were no sound prevention laws then. And the operator that's taken over that run now, that's got the current contract, they've got much more powerful machines, but they're silent. You just don't hear it anymore at all.
Please ensure you have a valid ticket for travel. You will be expected to produce your ticket.
So we're now at Haywards Heath. So we're only about 13 miles out of Brighton now. Another sort of commuter town. I suppose commuters of Brighton and London. It's, well, pretty good commuter place. And here in the game we've also got split and attach here. Which is also another cool aspect about this route is the split and attach runs.
I don't know why I reset my train then.
Yeah, I was looking, wondering why your master keys come out and... Oh, that's the AWS off again. That's the instance where I went AFK again. Some early.
Yeah, I can't remember if I was just bored and playing with it, or if I thought something was wrong with it. I wonder if I went into emergency as I stopped. Maybe I was trying to reset it.
You need to close your doors as well.
Yeah.
What's going on? Oh, they're opening again.
And opening them again.
Well, actually, there's dispatchers at this station, so maybe they gave you the first tip too early.
It's possible. We can pretend that happened.
Yeah. So that service there, what you're looking at, or you were looking at there, Paul, is a service which couples up. So it's an operation which doesn't actually happen anymore. There's 2 stations I can think of where split and attach happens. I'm actually trained in it as well. There's one at Purley and at Horsham where split and attach happens. So for Purley, you get the services from Caterham, or Caterham, however you want to say it, and Tattenham Corner, which come up and then join together to form like a big long train into London. And then for Horsham, it's services from Southampton or Portsmouth, and then from Bognor, which then join up with each other. But here at Haywards Heath, when this route is set, the trains, it's the Littlehampton services and the East Coastway services, Eastbourne, Hastings, or they join up here and then form just a big train going up to London, which is a cool thing you can see here in the UK quite often.
Yeah, we used to have services like that where trains would come from two regional areas, and at one of the midway regional stations they'd join them up and then come into the city together. But they don't seem to do that anymore. They just seem to run them separately now.
Yeah, they do that here as well, where it's separately, sadly.
And the majority of our diesel-hauled passenger isn't locomotive hauled trains anymore. It's mostly DMUs now.
No.
And they're depending on the time of day and how much traffic they're predicting. It might be 2 of them joined together, or it could be 6 or 8.
Yeah. It's like I've set off a bit quick there. I'm already up to Haywards Heath Tunnel. You've got the barrier wagon there, which is realistic.
It's to stop you crashing into the tunnel, I suppose.
There you go, out of Haywards Heath Tunnel, and Paul's about to go into Haywards Heath Tunnel.
Passing a big car park. So what is the purpose of the wagon that sits there?
Well, it's just to stop. I don't know. I assume it's just meant to stop trains going in, or basically like a buffer stop, basically, just to stop trains from, well, hitting anything.
Protecting the tunnel mouth, I suppose.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
It's a portable crumple zone.
Yeah. I know, on the
I remember
nice
along this
quiet
route
bit.
we've got the tunnel that looks like a castle as well.
Pardon?
We've got the tunnel that looks like a castle on this route, I
Yeah, that's Clayton Tunnel, that is. That's the northern portal of it, which runs, from Clayton down to Pycombe, which is the southern end of it.
I just noticed another difference in our HUD usage. You've got the ratio for the gradient, and I'm using percentage.
That's true, yeah. I don't understand. I cannot, for the life of me, figure out what any of that percentage stuff is. For me, it's ratio. Just so easy to understand. It's like, at the moment, we're sat down, running 298 metres, so every 298 metres I go forward, I go down by 1 metre. Easy to understand.
Yeah. I don't mind the percentages, because I look at it and go, I know what that is. In an electric multiple unit, there's very few gradients where it actually matters anyway. So your train's powerful enough that it just doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, it's like on the Licky incline on the Cross City line, which is also available on Train Sim World. You don't really notice the grade much on that.
You do if you try and take a steam engine, but
yeah. There goes the branch down to Lewis there, which I've just gone past.
Yeah, I did a video with Flying Scotsman on the Licky incline in the game, and it almost couldn't do it.
And I remember watching it. It was quite a challenge.
The weird and wonderful things you can do that are just good fun in the game. And it used to be a little bit difficult because you actually have to go and make a scenario, but now you just plonk yourself down in the timetable with free roam and off you go.
That's a good thing about free roam though, you can literally do absolutely anything you want. Even if, this route for example, it doesn't have the Thameslink services. You can just spawn in the 700 now. Follow, find real-time trains, find a service on them, just follow the real timetable. Within service mode.
Yeah, and you get the advantage of having all the other traffic there for you, so you've got some visual interest.
Yeah. Are you about
without having to go to all the work of putting it there with a scenario.
Yeah. That was very close, Paul. I was looking at my screen thinking of my sort of fairly smooth stop at Burgess Hill, and I see you absolutely hammering it down the platform. I'm like, Paul.
Yes, you went for smooth. I went for let's arrive quick. I rarely think about where you're supposed to stop, which is probably my undoing in points challenges. You can see we're quite a long way apart.
I think you're on, 12 coach door marker.
We probably should have hidden the points and kept people in suspense.
We probably should have, yeah. Damn it.
Oh well.
Yeah. So fairly well, next session's Hassocks, and then fairly soon we do start seeing the South Downs, which to me is like a sign of home. It's like the Downs. Nice.
Means you're almost there.
Yeah. Almost by the sea.
If you're operating on a railway, the homeward trip, especially the last part of it,
Yeah.
it's actually the time you have to be the deliberately most observant. You have to force yourself to be observant because it's the most dangerous time.
Oh.
Because you're starting to think about going home and you're not there yet.
There goes Paul. And I was supposed to mention your livery, Paul. That is on the Creators Club, 377
Is that where I got it from?
Yeah. Yeah. Some cool liveries on there. Creators Club's good.
It is interesting what turns up in the game when you've downloaded stuff and you go, it just appears and you go, oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
There's the Downs, the first site of them. They're not too far to Hassocks. I love the way literally our skybox and everything is just the same.
Yeah, they are really, really similar.
Hmm.
It's a little bit different on the Xbox, I have to say, because I run
Yeah.
an Xbox S and it's a little more game-like, the
Yeah.
graphics.
It definitely is cool to see the difference though between PC and console. I mean, there's not really much in it. I mean, I can see there's a little bit of difference. Yeah, colour-wise, there's definitely colours do look slightly better on the PC, and probably the rendering is probably slightly better. But there's not, apart from that, there's not really much in it.
Yeah, I think there's different depth to the shadows on PC, but to be honest, looking at them side by side, it really doesn't make that much difference.
No. Which is,
So
it is hats off really to Dovetail for making it, being able to be like that on console.
Yeah, indeed, because they managed to squeeze quite a lot out of the Unreal Engine, because it's still running on version 4.
Mm.
I do get why they haven't actually gone to 5. It's, apart from the fact that it's an enormous amount of work, it's like developing the game all over again. Because I know some other game developers who have gone to 5 and they just disappeared into the woodwork for a couple of years while they redevelop all their stuff.
Mm.
But the other reason of not going to 5 is that because of the different feature set that it's got, it may well kill the old gen consoles, and that's a significant part of the market. So you don't want to do that.
And it's not for a couple more years.
No.
I think, I don't know, there's still a lot, I'm saying in my community, there's still lots of people on that last gen console. But then there's now a lot more still now on next gen.
Yeah. And the console market's massive compared to PC. I know Dovetail haven't released any official numbers, but it's significantly higher on console than PC.
Yeah.
Which is why when the PC players moan and go, well, ours could be better, it's like, yeah, but they're dealing with most of their market.
Well, that's sort of one of the talking points about the game, which is quite annoying when I do hear it, is when, you know, the pro PC players start saying like TSW's not good, you know, Train Sim Classic's the best one because, you know, they don't have everything they can have yet on on TSW, but then TSW, I suppose, I mean, it's not early days anymore, but it's still, it's getting there.
I think you're off and running, and I'm still wandering around in the wilderness. Yeah, there's a massive back catalogue in Train Sim Classic, but Train Sim Classic really is at the end of its life. The things that you do in that and the way that you play, they're not up there with this. So the graphics is far superior in Train Sim World.
Yeah. I could sit and play this all day, because the graphics aren't gonna. Yeah, my eyes probably aren't gonna. Well, they will ache, but I could easily sit and play this all day. Train Sim Classic, 2 hours max. My eyes aching. It's like, oh, I need to get off of here.
Yeah, it's similar. It's to me, it's not as enjoyable because there's just not as much stuff happening in it. And if you look at some of the other simulators, there's certainly a lot of stuff happening at the moment. There's a lot available now that weren't around even a year ago.
Yeah.
And looking at what's coming up in Steam, and there's probably another 5 or 6 that are slated as coming soon, whatever that might mean. So it's quite a growing market, which I think is a testament to this game, because this game's grown the market.
Yeah.
Here's our castle.
Yeah, Clayton Tunnel, which is supposedly haunted.
Excellent.
I think it was in the
As every good place should be.
Yeah, sometime in the 1800s, or was it 1890s or something. A train went in, and obviously this is when there wasn't signals. It was basically just, train leaves the station, 2 minutes later, the other train leaves, and then they should be about 2 minutes apart. So one train went in, I think it broke down or something in the tunnel, or got stuck. And then the signaller, or basically the watcher, didn't, say, oh, train's out the tunnel now. So yeah, the other train went in, and well, bad things happened.
Yeah, it's a time-based working was probably not ever a good idea, but before they had the concept of signalling, it was the only thing they could do, I suppose. We actually had a very similar accident happen in the western half of Melbourne, where they were coming back from a big public event, and one train was stopped in the station and it was there for too long, and the other train that wasn't supposed to stop there just ran into the back of them, and it killed a lot of people.
Yeah, not good.
And of course, in the days that these things happened too, it's all wooden coaches, and they didn't have things like override protection, so one train would basically end up inside the other one, and it was terrible.
Yeah. But I suppose from those mistakes, we've now moved on to a time where, those things don't happen, or shouldn't happen.
Yep. Well, even looking at our little railway, we've got a rule book that's about 3 inches thick. And if you think about where every one of those rules has come from, every rule is designed to counter a mistake that someone made.
Yeah. Oh, that was a cool shot you got there. And it worked this time as well.
I finally pulled one off. Managed to sit in just the right spot.
So we're now approaching the northern part of Brighton. So on the left of my screen, which is on the right, you've got the RSPCA Brighton. And then we'll be coming up to, we've got the A23 slip, or the A27 slip road that goes off, which I'm going under now. And then the A27, which I'm going under now. Going over Mill Road, which is where you get the park and ride for the football stadium. And then, now we're in Patcham Tunnel. And then basically once we're through here, we're in Brighton.
Almost at the end, but not quite.
Yeah. Which if you do want to go to the football stadium on this game, you can. Because it is on the East Coastway route, which is another fantastic third rail route. It's showing its age now, but it's still good. That's where football stadium.
I think East Coastway and Transpennine is another one. They both show they show up quite well, even compared with the modern ones.
Yeah. I mean, they are getting on now, both of them, but they still definitely do show up to more modern routes.
Yeah, every now and again I crack out NTP and drive a 101 over the mountains.
Oh, lovely.
It's just good fun. It's nice and relaxing compared to the pace of the more modern commuter style things, because internally it's only a game, but you actually get immersed in it to the point that keeping up with the timetable starts to introduce pucker factor.
Yeah. Things, what do you prefer, Paul? Brighton Main Line or East Coast Way? Because they both have that. They have two different sort of sets of pace to them. BML, fast, busy. You've sort of got to be on the ball constantly. But East Coast Way is more laid back, countryside. What do you prefer?
Generally speaking, I like the busier ones. So for the routes that aren't busy, or if it's a really long haul, something like Cajon Pass, going down the hill, I stay interested because you've got to be on the ball and actually managing your train, or you'll end up in pieces at the bottom. But going up the hill, no, that 3-hour run up the hill at 12 mile an hour, it's not really my thing. I do like a busy route where you've got lots of movement, you've got lots of things to look at, you've got to keep up with a timetable. It's the way I play, that's just more interesting for me.
So this route's basically perfect then.
Yeah.
But East
Can't say
Coast
I've
Way,
driven
it's
it as
not
much as
quite
you do.
route. Fairly busy.
I think the route that I've actually driven the most based on stats is Boston. And I've driven that one huge amounts, but
yeah, it's a really good. I haven't been on that one in ages, but it's a really good route. Of the Acela. I want to play it now. You maybe want to play it.
yeah, we all have our favourite routes, and being ambassadors, we also follow all of the news stuff, because we try and get that out in front of people so they can see what it's like and see what it's like to play with just normal people playing it. It's one of those funny things is that people sometimes say to me, oh, well, you're an ambassador, you can't say anything bad about it. And I go, I can. I just take a different approach to the people who complain a lot. I just be constructive about it.
Yeah, fair enough. I just like playing the game. I mean, even if there was like a really bad route out, I'll say it's not great, but I'll probably still enjoy it in some way. I just like playing the game. I just like playing.
Yeah,
it's relaxing.
Absolutely. It's all about the attitude you have when you're coming into a game. Are you in the game to have fun, or are you in the game to nitpick? Because there's always going to be things to nitpick, because it's reality. Things have budgets. They have a certain amount of money that's allowed to be spent, and a certain amount of time that's allowed to be used from the people, and you just have to make it fit in that. And I think what gets achieved through those constraints is quite amazing. And you're almost at the end of the line.
Nearly, yeah. I think you've got 313 or something coming on the left here. I can hear a train clicking its way in.
Yeah, you've beaten me by quite a bit, and our clocks are still nearly in sync, which is quite amazing. Just for the people who don't know, the clocks in the game aren't actually real time. The game runs a certain number of ticks per second, and because what they're doing in the game world is changing on the ticks, so some ticks take longer than other ticks, the clocks tend to drift a little bit. But even across the two platforms, absolutely it does too. Even across the two different platforms, we're actually pretty close.
Yeah. Here we are at Brighton. That was a nice run, nice run. This goes back out 12:03. So you can, on this route, that's the great thing. You can just go backwards and forth all day long on the same train.
Yep, and you can get off and you can ride the same one again, or you can go and pick another one if you want to wait a little bit less.
Yeah.
I've finally gotten in now. So we'll sit there on your end screen for a little while.
Yeah.
But I think I can safely say I know which one won this half of the challenge.
What's that, 11,197? Is that?
It is indeed.
197, okay. You get 500 points for the... Oh, it's going to be close. Yeah, you get 500 points for that. I think you get 500 points for the end. Oh. Yeah. I mean, it's close. That's definitely close.
And unusually for me, it wasn't speeding too much. But, yeah, I think that we're going to have a rerun at some point. Cause,
yes.
It's one each. I can't leave it like that.
Yeah, we will. Maybe in the next event, it'll be a Paul versus Joe fight to the death type thing on TSW. That'd be cool.
Excellent. Well, it's been really cool and enjoying this aspect of the Festival of Rail.
Yeah.
So I hope people are enjoying all of the videos that they're seeing and being in touch with all of the different content that the ambassadors and the DTG people are producing and having fun.
Yeah, certainly. Obviously, thanks to Dovetail Games for having us on, and it's been great to do a collab with Paul. It's been a long time coming. Actually, we have done it before on Cross City, and that was another. I think that might have been the last festival as well. Yeah,
I
nice
think it
to.
was.
Yeah, the back cab challenge. I think it was.
Yeah, driving the train backwards just because we could.
Yeah, why not?
Yep.
I suppose we're wrapping up there, Paul.
Yeah, I think so. And yeah, thanks very much to Alex and JD and Jan for hosting Festival of Rail and getting us on here.
Yeah.
I forgot Jamie. Thanks to Jamie as well.
Yes. Yeah, thanks to obviously all of the Dovetail team for having us on. And yeah, hopefully everyone has enjoyed it. I'm sure there'll be another ambassador on after this. Maybe Dovetail will be on after this. But I think that probably is it from me and Paul. Obviously me, the British Ace, and Paul, Train Simulator driver. Yeah, that's it from me. So, Paul, I'll let you wrap up as I started.
Yeah, we'd love to see you on our channels, of course, and jump in and subscribe. And hopefully you're enjoying the festival, and we'll leave it there. So have fun, folks.
See you all. Take care.